today, of course, the focus of the webinar will be the next major release of uCommerce, which has been out for a week and a day now. It's something we've been working on for a while, and I'm very excited to share what we've done with you today. So before we get into it, let me just show you the agenda for what we're looking at. We'll spend an hour approximately on this, maybe a little less. So first we'll go through the why. We'll take a look at the app platform, so the thing in uCommerce itself that makes everything go. We'll take a look at market, and we'll also have a peek at roadmap for apps and market. But first, a little history. So this is actually an image I used back in 2009 when I introduced uCommerce to the world at Umbraco Code Garden. And the intent for this particular image was to sort of show that uCommerce inherent nature was a flexible piece of software that you could sort of click together so you can make it your own and change the way everything works. A set of puzzle pieces that you could make your own, basically. This image, even though it's old today, is actually still even more relevant with the stuff we're looking at today, because uCommerce 7 is the next natural step in the evolution of the platform. So we're going from basically little extensions that you keep to yourself to extensions that you can share with others. So the first thing that uCommerce 7 is what we like to call the app platform, or just app platform. The intent here is to enable uCommerce to run apps inside of the platform, so you can start to package up your functionality in an easier, simpler way. So let's just take a look at it. So what's an app? Well, an app is actually not something that's new in uCommerce. If you've ever attended a demo with me, or we've had a meeting or something like that, you will have seen this slide, the framework first slide. And this is actually one that's been around again for a number of years. And the reason I included it in this particular slide deck is because framework first is really what makes all this work. So framework first, of course, is the way that we build the platform. Framework first is all about not just piling features onto the platform, but actually taking a step back from that and creating frameworks on which we build the features. So, and what that of course does and have done over the years is enable partners to change the way uCommerce works by extending and modifying the things that are actually already in the platform. uCommerce 7 is the next logical step to this. So we take the bits and bobs that you've been building and enable you to actually package it up. So the intent here is basically to take the functionalities, the extensions, the modifications to the platform and squish them into a nice, neat little box that you can then share across your projects. So you've actually already been building apps for a while. You just didn't know it. And now with the formalization in uCommerce 7, you can actually take those extensions that you build and package them up and share them more easily across your projects. What makes uCommerce apps a little more special and a little more interesting than your run-of-the-mill app platform is actually what also makes uCommerce interesting. The ability of uCommerce to run on multiple different content management systems, Umbraco and Sitecore, and even multiple versions of Umbraco and multiple versions of Sitecore, is actually extended today to include apps. So once you build your app one time, it will actually run on both Umbraco 6 and 7 and Sitecore 7 and 8. And in the future, as we include more content management systems, your app will actually run across that. So you're not targeting the content management system for these apps, you're targeting uCommerce, and by extension, because uCommerce runs on the CMSs in question, your app will too. We did this not in order to sort of make the value proposition of an app for an app developer writing apps a little more interesting, but also for customers running uCommerce. So they have a natural expectation of what they can do and which apps they will have available if they do decide to use uCommerce. But what's an app? As I mentioned, apps are something you've been writing already if you've worked with uCommerce or in previous projects. They are the extensions that you can create for uCommerce, but I'd just like to sort of show you a few examples of what it might be. So just to highlight what you can actually build with apps, because it is actually a pretty wide variety of stuff. So first up is what we call the full app. A full app is a self-contained thing inside of uCommerce. It is a thing that augments uCommerce with a completely new functional area. If you think about Umbraco and Sitecore and uCommerce roles with those content management systems, you can almost think of uCommerce itself as a full app for those two content management systems. We now extend this to you so you can create your own stuff. But just to illustrate the point, a full app would be something along these lines. It would be something that extends this tree here. So in the case of search, which is a native capability of uCommerce, it could actually be built as a full app because it actually has a standalone feature set which would be fitting to do to make an app out of. So the extension of the tree here, I'm showing Umbraco 7, but it would also exist in Sitecore, of course. And of course, the main UI of the app that would drive the overall experience of using that app. I'll show you a working example of this in a wee bit, but for now, this is what a full app would be. So in here, in the main app area, you have full flexibility to do whatever you want. You can build apps that do something else entirely, and we actually have examples of that we'll look at in a little bit. Or you can use the bits and bobs that we have to build our own UIs, as would be the case here. So capabilities that would enable you to extend and use the UI processes that we have. This is for bigger stuff, so reporting suites and things of that nature. More common extensions would be extending the existing UIs. This is also something uCommerce developers have been doing for years. Now it's just much easier. So as part of uCommerce 7, we made extensions of UIs a little simpler than they were before, and we also added a few new capabilities that uCommerce developers have been asking for. So all of the UIs in uCommerce are extensible, and that means you can change the way products are edited, you can change the way orders are managed, you can change the way marketing campaigns are set up. Let me just show you an example here. So this is the order editor of uCommerce. Most of you will know this, but the intention here is that you could add additional tabs here next to the existing ones, or even remove existing tabs and replace them with your own. Actually, we did an app ourselves that does exactly that, and if we have time, I'll jump in and show you what that looks like. So basically, you can get in there and change things. A new capability that was introduced in uCommerce 7 that has been asked for quite a bit is also the ability to add new buttons to existing UIs, which is also. Other components include more businessy components, things that change the business logic of uCommerce. So of course, new payment providers. We actually have a few apps coming that will do that. New data types, so the little piece of UI that actually is used to change the values of individual fields on a product or a category. So if you need a Google map, for example, you could write that up as an app and hook it into uCommerce. Price and tax calculations, we also have examples of that coming for the US market. And of course, pipeline extensions, so modifying the existing logic of uCommerce. We have apps ourselves that do exactly that. Finally, dashboards and widgets. This was introduced in uCommerce 6.8, and of course you can modify that as well. So an example of that would be building new widgets that are able to be configured on these dashboards around uCommerce. Notice I'm showing Sitecore this way around. But the main point is that you have been writing apps for a long time if you've been developing with uCommerce, and of course the app platform in uCommerce is a further formalization of that enable you to go and package it up and share it with others. For the next slide, let me tell you a little story about how uCommerce came to be. So back in 2008, myself and the other founding partner of uCommerce, Lasse, we were creating this package from Umbraco, which was to become uCommerce. And one of the things, we ran into a number of things, but one of the things we ran into is that we built up the entire V1 platform, or 0.08 or something like that. So the very first version, we had that all ready to go. It was running inside of Umbraco and everything was great. And we were just about ready to go and present this stuff at Code Garden, this big conference where everybody would see this for the very first time. But we hit a little bit of a snag because the challenge was it was hard enough to just build the platform itself. But we then ran into a little bit of a complication, which was how do we actually package this stuff? We didn't know, and there wasn't really a ready-made recipe to do it. And so that's a situation that was a little unfortunate because we had a little bit of a timing issue, of course. We weren't really we didn't really have a lot of excess time to use on this. So one of the things that was really important to us was to help app developers get started more easily than what we experienced many years back. I'm sure it's better today, but back then that was at least sort of the pain we experienced. And to address that, uCommerce 7 also includes what we call the uCommerce sample app. So the intention here is to try and remove barriers for app devs to get started. So the sample app is basically exactly what it is. It's a sample app that shows you how to do actually all of the things, well, many of the things I just showed you, how to do a full app, how to extend existing UIs, how to hook in and modify pipelines, all that stuff that is fully documented, of course, but here are a set of examples for you to show it. And best of all, when you're ready to ship your app as a NuGet package, it will automatically be packaged up as a NuGet package that can then be uploaded to market or installed into uCommerce. So basically the intention of the sample app is to get developers to focus on building the app, building the things that create value, and not having to worry too much about the formalia about getting an app out there. That should be taken care of, and it is a pain everybody would run into. So with that, I think we should take a look at what it actually looks like rather than me just talking about it. So I'll need a browser for this, and I need a couple of content management systems. So first we'll hit on Umbraco here, and I'll also open up Sitecore. Of course, need to pray to the demo gods that everything will work. With that done, I think we can move on here. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to type away in chats. I'd be happy to try and answer as best I can. But meanwhile, let's take a look at the demo here. So I'm logging into both content management systems that we have. We have uCommerce 7 installed on both Umbraco and hopefully also on Sitecore while that spins up. And there we go. So with that platform, it's sort of an interesting feature to demo because there's not a whole lot of surface area inside the content management system, because after all, the apps become the surface areas, the thing that you can actually see. But you'll notice here there's a new node here in uCommerce. The apps node is where you will find installed apps already in place. To install an app, we'll go to the settings area where there's another app node, which is where you can go and install apps and view the apps already installed. And so I'll just install the sample app that I just showed you and show you how that works. So let's get that in there. So when I upload this, basically what happens is the NuGet file is transmitted to uCommerce. We'll take a look at what's inside and show this information, and then we can install it. Part of the installation process is actually to recycle and restart the website so everything is ready to go. So this process will take a little while. It's not actually the app installing that takes a long time. It's getting Umbraco and uCommerce fired back up. The installation process itself of an app is fairly simple, and we intentionally created it that way. So what happens under the covers here is basically that the package file that I'm uploading is extracted and copied into place in the content management system and inside uCommerce. That's all. So we're basically just moving files about. That's it. Once the app fires up, initialization mechanisms and hooks will enable the app to actually wire itself up further if necessary, and that's it. So we've installed the sample app here, so we can go here and take a look at the installed apps, and I've actually also installed the gift card app that we did. So the sample app right here shows you which version, changelog, and all that stuff, so that's all stored with the app so you can see it. What the sample app does is crazy. Let me just show you. So we created the sample app as very, very simple set of examples of how to create apps, so it doesn't do much. But it does add itself here under the settings node with an about node. And the about node will give you information about the version of uCommerce running. So I'm running a little bit of an older version here. This was the one we released last week. We actually did one in the meantime. And it shows the schema version. So just very simple information that may be interesting to actually display. So we are considering whether we should actually ship the sample app in Market as well. But that's it. But the beauty here is that it's hooked into the existing trees here, and it's actually also hooked in here. So the apps area is where the primary UI would live. Let me just go to Sitecore and show you exactly the same thing. The package that I'm uploading is exactly the same package. I've created no code to make it compatible with Umbraco or Sitecore. App Platform in uCommerce takes care of that for you. That means, of course, also that you have to think about the dependencies that you add for your apps, because you can't obviously have a direct dependency on the CMS because it wouldn't work in the other CMSs. So that's the trade-off. So we'll go and install an app here. We'll choose the other one. Sitecore takes a little longer to come online. So while we wait for that, I can sort of talk a little bit more about the sample app. So I have the sample app right here. So this is actually the code as it would be downloaded from the repository online. It has a few bits and bobs. There is a website that creates the UI for the app. So that was the schema information and the version number that we were looking at, provided by that. It has the actual logic to provide it and a little bit of test just to show you how you can do unit testing on this. Also, it includes configuration to actually enable the app, which is down here. And the beauty of this system, whoops, it's actually in here. It's been moved about a little bit. So what it can do is it basically just sits next to the configuration of uCommerce. It doesn't modify any files once it's installed. And these configurations here are read in, merged into the overall runtime configuration and ready to go for the actual app itself. That's it, super simple. And of course the code to show you how to create the new pieces of logic that you want to override are here, so you have a good chance of creating something based off of this. What we see the beta app developers do with this is basically take the sample app, rename the projects and everything, and off they go. Right, so while I was talking, the sample app installed into Sitecore, and now we should have an about note here, and it should show us version information like before. So you can see on Sitecore I'm running a slightly different version of the app platform, a slightly different version of the underlying database, but it is the same code running across Sitecore and Umbraco. So we've extended the capability of uCommerce to run on multiple content management platforms to app developers. So now you can get a little more bang for the buck if you decide to create apps. And of course the apps that you'll find in Market will be compatible across the CMSs as well. So Scott Reed has a question in chats. The question goes like this: do you have any plans to make a Visual Studio extension to add an app template as a project type? Yes, Scott, we do. The sample project that I just showed you makes it a little difficult to get up and running initially. And a Visual Studio project would definitely make it much, much simpler. So it is something that we're looking into, but there is no time frame for making that available yet. Great question, thank you. So let's jump back to the slides here. And let me just sum up App Platform. So as I mentioned, you've been building apps for a while now because uCommerce extensions are apps by default. You don't really have to do anything in particular to create an app. So it's just a way to package your code. So that means if you go ahead and build an app, you don't have to share it with other people. You don't have to share it outside of your company. It's still a great way to actually just package up functionality that you might want to leverage across your projects. What we've seen partners do over and over again is they have a set of APIs that they like to work with that are based off of the uCommerce APIs. We have a set of payment gateways maybe that are available just inside the company. So just creating an app for that makes it much more portable across your projects. So that's a great place to start. So apps are relevant to build even if you intend to use them internally only. But of course, if you do decide to ship it more widely, that's where Market comes into play, which we're going to look at in a little bit. And of course, App Platform works across all CMSs that uCommerce supports, present and future. So that means your app will actually see more content management compatibility as we add more capabilities to uCommerce itself. Right, so let's talk about the next major component of uCommerce 7. And it's not really a component of uCommerce 7, it's more of a service, a companion service of uCommerce, if you will. And we call it Market. And the intention of Market is to create for you a channel in which you can share your app. After all, apps are only as useful as the number of people using them. So while they do have value internally in your company for setting up projects more easily, for getting sort of your solutions out the door, they're much more valuable to the overall community once shared on Market. And let me just show you a quick screenshot of what Market looks like right now. So these are actually 8 apps that are live on the Market right now. And I just want to emphasize that we shipped this stuff Tuesday last week. So we're looking at 8 days. So that's 1 app for every day. Of course, we cheated a little bit in the process here because these apps represent the bulk of the apps that we worked with beta partners to produce. Let me just talk a little bit about some of the apps here. So gift cards here is an app that we did ourselves as a test of the overall platform. The sample app was the very first app that was created to prove the extension points worked the way we wanted them to, but gift card was intended to be more of a bigger example to also let us experience what the friction was like when we were working with the platform. Of course, it resulted in a great app because gift cards is something that's quite popular. So clicking gift cards into uCommerce 7 will actually give you gift card capabilities, the ability to sell a gift card and the ability to use a gift card as a payment method. There are a bunch more. I just want to highlight this one here, Raptor Smart Advisor. This is actually a bridge app between uCommerce and a service called Raptor. The Raptor service is a prediction service. So basically, it is able to predict which product you might be interested in as a customer. This is a super interesting, super relevant service for e-commerce because you basically feed it the behavior of customers and it can then parrot back the predictions based on that behavior. So it is an app that will help you increase conversion rates in your stores. AdHop here is another interesting one, which is another example of a full app that we just talked about. The AdHop is basically a remarketing app that enables you to try and entice customers that leave your web shop to come back in. So you've probably all experienced the stalkery banners on different websites. So you visit a web store and you look at a product and then you see this product showing up all over the internet. And that's basically what AdHop does here. And finally, TrendSeam is another great one. It's basically a reporting suite done by Tim Gaunt. It's another SaaS service bridge app that sort of hooks in reports into uCommerce. So further reporting capabilities to what's already there. To begin with, Market supports only free apps, so there are no paid apps, there are no sort of invoicing or payments or anything like that. So everything you see in the Market today will be free. This is just to get started. So in the future, there are plans to elaborate a little bit on this. One of the big goals for Market is to create an area where you'll find quality apps. So quality means a lot of different things. It means, of course, that the app works. It means that it works predictably across CMSs. It means it's documented and supported and all that good stuff. And all of those things are things we want to support with Market. So first, all of the apps that you just saw have gone through a curation process. That means the developer has uploaded the app and notifications gone back to the team here, who can then take a look at the individual apps. So they will go through sort of some testing on our side. We'll look at whether the apps adhere to the requirements for releasing an app in Market. And once that's been verified, the app is then pushed out by us so you can download it. This curation process kicks in for every app release. So you can't just upload an app and have it available immediately. And you can't just upload a new release of that app and have it be available immediately. It has to go through curation even though you release a little point release or whatever. The reason for that is we want to make sure that the apps are there, that they work, and they are sort of predictable in their quality. Part of that predictability is app support. And so app support is also an area that's hugely important because an app may not work fully the way it's intended to. There are bugs in software, or so I hear. And so app support, of course, is super important. And what we've done is we've basically taken some of the tools that we already have in place and extended them to support app developers. So when you look at an app like the Raptor Smart Advisor from Pragmasoft, what you'll see is a support link. And what happens here is basically it takes you back to Eureka, our support platform. And what we've done as part of the V7 release set of products there is we've added support to Eureka to let app developers have sort of a corner of Eureka where they can go and do their support. They will get notified when new posts come in relating to their app, and there are actually requirements in signing up for the App Store around the SLAs there that are in place for support. So the SLAs are the same as ours. Once a question is asked, the app developer has 48 hours to answer. And app developers must adhere to this to remain in the app platform. If they don't, or in market if they don't, their app will be removed after a few warnings. So again, we want to make sure quality is high. So let me show you a demo here. Oh, there's a question from Marcel Hogenstein. Sorry for butchering your name there. So it's a long one, so bear with me here. From the development and continuous deployment perspective, suppose that we have an Umbraco solution in Visual Studio with Umbraco installed as a NuGet package. Can I also install an app as a NuGet package in this solution? The answer to that is yes. The app is a full NuGet package. It doesn't contain anything special. But it is a yes with a qualifier because it may not do exactly what you want. NuGet by default will add the app in as a reference to your website. It will add content files to the root of your website, and that may not be specifically what you're looking for. So one of the things that we're looking at in the current sprint here is making that a little more predictable rather. And so what we intend to do is basically to have a little piece of script that installs with your app, with the app in Visual Studio, and pushes it into the apps folder of uCommerce. So if you do publish your uCommerce Umbraco solution to a destination, the app will actually sit in the proper location. But this is a work in progress. For now, don't add apps in as a NuGet package. Just add the DLLs in, and that will be it if you need to code against them. But it is something we're looking into. There is a second question to this. Does this imply that uCommerce itself also becomes available as a NuGet package? Please, please, please. Let's just have a look at that, shall we? Darn it, this would have been so much better had I been able to spell this properly. But the answer is, of course, yes. It is in fact already available on NuGet, so you can use it. One caveat to this is that when we say core here, we very much mean it. The core package of uCommerce includes only the stuff needed by an app to compile, and so it's only the core DLLs of uCommerce that are available in this. It is not enough to get uCommerce up and running inside of Umbraco in Visual Studio. In fact, this is also something we're looking into in this particular sprint. So we have heard you loud and clear. NuGet is super important. That's why we're using it for apps, and that's why we're investing in bringing uCommerce and uConnect itself out as NuGet packages, so we can make that a little easier for you. It looks like Marcel is happy with the answer, so that's great. Good. So let me show you a demo of this, what the workflow will be. So what I'll do is I'll go to apps, the marketplace here, and download the gift card app. So we'll download the NuGet package here, and we'll go back to uCommerce in Sitecore, and we'll install the gift card app, like so. So notice how it picks out the information from the NuGet package and makes it ready to install. So as before, this takes a little bit of a few moments to start up. But I already took the liberty of installing the gift card app in Umbraco, so I can show you around there. And we'll take a look at it in Sitecore, of course, as well. So if we look at the installed apps here, you'll see that I have the sample app that we just had and the gift card app. Oop, now I got logged out, so let me just log in again so you can see what's what. There we go. And of course, you can see versions and all that good stuff, and you can uninstall it. Uninstalling an app is super simple because basically you just remove the app from its location and you're done. And I'll show you in a little bit what it actually looks like underneath the covers here. So gift card, remember, it does two things. It enables you to buy a gift card, and it enables you to use a gift card or many gift cards on one order. So what we needed was first to enable you to buy a gift card. And so what the gift card app does is it installs a new definitions in the product definition area here, a gift card. It has no fields because we don't need them basically. This is just something to identify the gift card product type. With that set up, it happens automatically as I install it. I can then go to my store here and navigate to a category where I've already set up the gift card product. Now gift cards are interesting products because they're not really a product, they're more like a virtual item or something like that, and they don't really have variants, but they still do somehow because you still need to sort of be able to specify price points for the gift card. So prepaid gift cards of 50 euros, 100 euros, 200 euros, and so on and so forth. But it's not really a variant because you don't really want to give it a SKU and things like that. And so what you'll notice here is that the gift card app actually modifies the UI for the product editor. So gift cards are actually expressed as variants in the catalogs, but there is no variant tab here. You won't find a price tab either because the variant and the price is almost the same thing in a gift card. And so what the app does is it removes the variant tab and it removes the price tab of the product family and replaces it with this tab here, gift cards. And so it's a different way of editing prices, which are more in line with what you would expect from a gift card. So these are the letters in the different price groups configured that the customer should be able to choose from. That's it. So that's the editing experience. With this, the gift card becomes a product in line with every other product on your website, and so it's sellable alongside other products like a shirt or a shoe or whatever. So that's the sell part. Once a gift card is sold, it is actually issued as part of the order processing flow here. So that's the second thing the app does. It hooks into the order processing flow here. And so the gift card is not issued immediately upon receipt of the order. It is actually only issued once the order is marked as complete. So when it ships is sort of the intention here. So gift card has the ability to hook into the transition between these two states. And once an order arrives in a completed state, the gift card will be issued and added to the gift card repository. And that's the second part of the app. That's the actual payment method. And so, of course, the gift card sets up a payment method here, a gift card payment method, which also does some of the same things that we just saw in the catalog area. It also modifies the UI here, replaces it. It actually just adds stuff in. But in the gift card section here, you can actually see gift cards that have been generated using this particular app. So they're tied to a store and can only be used in the particular store that issued this gift card. It has expiration dates and all sorts of things, and it has a little bit of reporting so you can see the balances and things like that. And as you can see, right now I owe my customers around 100 million euros, which is, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. So just a few examples of what an app can do. Of course, the gift card can then be used as a payment method on the front end. You can bind multiple gift cards. You can use the gift card on multiple different orders. If you have a gift card for €1 million, you're probably not gonna spend $1 million in one go. So probably you want to split it up in at least 2 or 3 orders, depending on what you sell. And so we also track balance and all that good stuff on a gift card. So that's basically it. Right. So examples of what an app can do, examples of how you hook into market. Let me show you what it looks like in the file system, because this is one of the things that I'm particularly proud about. So, actually, probably Sitecore completed the installation, so we should check back and see that the app is actually in there, just to prove that point. While that fires up, let's just take a look at the installation we were just looking at. So here is the front end of it. The app is sitting here, and now we have, oops, I need this one. And here is the gift card app, and of course, this one will have less stuff set up because it doesn't have any gift cards generated. It's brand new, right? So yes, same code, same everything, no differences in the package. just installs in Umbraco and Sitecore. So let me show you the apps folder in here in Umbraco. So we'll find uCommerce, and apps live here in the file system. And the way it works is basically that apps will install. You can see how we're already using apps for other stuff. The sample apps sits here. We use it for inventory. This is actually a feature that's been part of uCommerce for since V1. It's now just an app instead, and gift cards sit here. And let me just show you what's inside. Because here, what you can see is basically everything required for an app to work. We have a little bit of UI. We have the new spec file that contains the name of the app and things like that. We have a bunch of different things and configuration as well that hooks into the various pipelines. So remember that we issue a gift card as part of that auto processing flow. Let me just show you that to complete it. So you'll notice here how it actually hooks via pipelines that you've seen a ton of times before into the existing one, but it doesn't actually modify the files. And so removing it, it becomes super simple. You just remove this file and it's gone. But it hooks into an existing component of uCommerce, and this is the way the rest of the app platform works as well. What you'll also notice inside here is that it not only contains the UI and the configuration, it also contains the binaries to actually run. So this is completely separated out from the content management system. An app shouldn't actually place things outside of the outside of its apps folder. Indeed, it has to actually work quite a bit to place stuff outside of its own folder. The reason for that is if I want to get rid of, say, my sample app here in Umbraco, this is the way I would go about doing it. I just hit the delete key. And now if I go back and recycle my website here, just need to reset it because we don't do that automatically. It needs to be a purposeful action here. So if I go back while this open up, what we should see is that the app is gone, because really what's required is just getting rid of that app. Remember, the installation process was all about kicking the files into the right place, and that was it. So let's see. So you can see here the apps node went away because now there are no apps that actually hook into it, and the about node here is gone. So that's literally it to delete an app. You can also hit the uninstall button inside of the UI, of course, if you want to do it in a pretty way. The reason we did it like this is so if you're maintaining multiple servers, which is pretty common on Sitecore, for example, maybe you have 3 or 4 front-end servers, you don't really want to install the same apps over and over again. You can just install them on one server, copy and paste them to the next server, and that's it. Nothing else required beyond the actual additional configuration that is server-specific. Right, so let's go back to the slides here and sum up a little bit and talk a little bit about roadmap. So in summary for market, quality is the name of the game, basically. We want to make sure that the apps that are in there are high quality and useful. We want to avoid a situation where there are thousands of apps that don't work, that breaks uCommerce, that are only compatible with a certain set of versions. We want to make sure that everything you download from market is great value. All apps are curated before they go public. So if you do upload an app, you won't see it right away. If you do release a new version of the app, you won't see it right away. It will go through an approval process here where we take a look at it. We actually install the app across a various number of content management systems and versions. So we see that it works across CMSs. We verify that all the formalia is right, that you have a description, you have the right imagery and all these types of things to make it sort of fit in with the overall market. Support of the app is required on Eureka, so that little support link will be generated. You will have it, and we will keep an eye on whether the displays are being adhered to. If not, the app will be removed from the marketplace. Again, to create a good experience, you need to know as a user of an app that you can get support, and this is the way we try and go that. Try and help out to create that situation. In the market that you've just seen, free apps are the only available option. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the roadmap. Actually, in the very short term for roadmap, documentation will also be the name of the game. For the first version of market, we did not have time to actually include app documentation, so there is a documentation of the app platform itself, but there is no support for apps documenting themselves. We're actually building that out right now, So what will happen is basically the app will have not only the UIs and configuration, binaries, and all the things that are necessary to run an app, it will also have documentation, and we will curate for documentation. If it has no documentation, it does not go on to market because documentation is super important. Another thing that's coming up is app certification. App certification is a level that you will be able to receive on your app as a little bit of a stamp of approval on the app. So it is something that goes beyond curation, where we will actually dedicate time to fully test the app and go through more rigorous sort of verification of the app. This will be a paid service that you can opt into. You don't have to certify your app, but it will have a nice little stamp of approval on it on the web store. This is something the app devs specifically asked about, the beta app devs, and so we will be introducing this over the coming months. The big thing for market is this, paid apps. Paid apps is where we want to take this. We want to make market a channel for you to promote your apps, and also a potential revenue stream for you as a partner and a developer. We want to, as with the support and the packaging of an app, we want to remove the complexities of charging for your app. So paid apps is a set of services that will extend to app devs to deal with invoicing. So we will take care of invoicing for you in the future, and we will take care of licensing for you, so you don't have to deal with that yourselves either. Based on that, of course, there will be a little bit of a kickback to us to fund this. So it will use the standard App Store sort of approach to this. So 30% goes to uCommerce and 70% goes to you as the app developer. The reason I included this little icon here is that we're also extending our licensing model to apps. What this means is that there will be no single fee apps. Every paid app will be licensed under recurring license model, like uCommerce itself. The reason for that, of course, free, not so much. Well, it will recurringly be free, I guess. So it works. But the intention here is to give app developers of paid apps a continued incentives to build up the app and to support the app. And the way to do it is through a recurring license model, because that will keep their interest basically on every customer. It helps keep everybody honest at the end of the day. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can charge 10 euros a month. You can charge a euro a month if you want. But the intention is to sort of fit it inside the model that customers already know. As part of this, beta app developers have also been asking about in-app purchases, which is something. It sounds interesting. It sounds like something that would be super cool to support. But this is a little farther out, so we don't know whether we can do it. So feedback is very welcome. Right, so let me just sum up what you've seen for uCommerce 7 here. You've seen a few different things. So apps is a way to package up your functionality and use it between your projects. With that, what I want to say is apps make sense even if you don't plan on releasing them on the marketplace, because it's just basically a way of thinking about creating functionality for uCommerce. An interesting thing happened here when we started to think about apps and when we started to build them ourselves. We started to think more granularly about the functionality that we were creating, and we actually started thinking about how could we make this thing a standalone extension to uCommerce that doesn't actually require a lot of other things to run. So, and what that means is that the app has a more specific boundary, if you will. And that makes a lot of sense also in your projects, because if you create a payment gateway integration, it's feasible that you might want to use that across other projects. And so once it's an app, you can move it about your projects, no problem. The market is an opportunity for you to promote your app globally. Market and apps will be a major focus over the next year and ongoingly from our side. From here on in, it's a matter of recruiting new app devs. It's about shining a spotlight on market and all the great apps that are in there. So it gives you an opportunity to get your app out there. And it's also an opportunity for you as a partner to promote your uCommerce savvy. So you can show off what you've done. You can show exactly that you know how to work with this particular platform. And also, it's great for karma, right? Sharing is caring. So with that, we've gone through the app platform, we've gone through market, we've gone through sample app, and actually there is one more thing that is to come, because all the things you've seen so far actually also will be extended to uConnector, the integration platform we have, and that is actually happening right now. So very, very soon we'll be able to ship uConnector 2, which will also support apps like uCommerce, of course a slightly different type of apps because they will be focused on integration, not on UI and business logic and things like that. But you can expect to see adapters and transformations and utilities for uConnector start popping up in the app store, in the market rather, going forward.